Hey everyone, here's just one more example as if we need any more. I mean, at this point, really, I'm done. Look at my past videos, look at the evidence, and all the articles, all the data, all the information. It's all contained within the body of my videos because I place the links to all the articles or information that for anything that I covered. And this in regards to the mass immigration file or the illegal asylum seekers that are coming to Canada. You know, that big push, especially put out, well, it started somewhat under the Conservative Party of Canada, but has been ramped up dramatically under the Trudeau Liberals to bring in I mean, the latest numbers now, without even taking into account the illegal asylum seekers. Illegal, not irregular, as the political hacks try to put forth and present. No, it's illegal. When you break, the laws of a country, it's illegal. I mean, the rest of us, we kind of understand these things, but like I say, with politics and these people that try to speak this quasi-legalese, this political doublespeak, once again, they're the ones that are the culprits in tricking you and trying to confuse and confound you on a regular and ongoing basis. But Canadians are seeing out there that, the landscape is being dramatically shifted, not just politically, but culturally as well. And I mean, as with most Canadians, of course, I'm one of them. I count myself as one of these people that, I'm accepting. I'm not one of these ultra-white nationalists. I judge people based on their skin color. I don't care about your skin color. I don't care if it's green, black, white, yellow, orange, pink, red, whatever. It's all about what's up here. Do you accept and embrace the philosophy of liberty, of what it means? That those Western values and principles that were adopted post-Enlightenment era, about respecting the individual, not sacrificing the individual to the tribe or to the collective, but respecting the individual. Because if you're going to deal with any person or any group of people in any particular society or culture, you have to respect each individual within it. Because if you just treat everyone based on some collective concept of what it means to be part of their greater tribe, their greater collective, their greater group, well, you're leaving out the individual, which once again, all you people that talk about, especially the leftists, you care about minorities? Well, like Ayn Rand said, the individual is the smallest minority on the planet. So if you don't respect individual rights and individual freedoms and liberty, then don't pretend that you care about minorities. But what we're seeing here today, once again, is a pushback that cannot be denied anymore by even those in the established media. The Canadian people have said, and they've spoken loud and clearly, or the majority of them, once again, I'm not going to use that one size fits all. There's lots of people maybe that do support this mass influx by bringing in another further million, even the legal migrants, 1 million between now 2018 to 2020, another million people. And where most of them are going to end up and reside are our major urban centers. And if you live in one of those major urban centers, you probably already recognize that the housing market, traffic density, competition for jobs, it's already tough out there as it is, folks. To try to bring in 1 million more people that are going to basically all congregate and reside in those big, overly populated, bureaucratic nightmare type cities that have already shown that they can't even handle the capacity that exists currently. I mean, here are the politicians, especially here in Toronto. Okay, listen to the people talking on constantly about, we need to create more infrastructure, more rail, more LRT, more, roads and bridges and subways and all this thing, because, the people are already stuck in traffic for hours and hours every day. But you want to bring in, 1 million more people. Where's the proper planning for anything like that? There is none. It's just, let's just cross our fingers and hope that we can get enough tax serfs, new immigrants that'll become productive members of society or reliant on the parasitical, the public sector, that it'll all work out in the end. Without any forethought whatsoever of what it's actually doing. See, they're just thinking, once again, this is the thing. They make accusations towards conservatives or people on the right as, all they care about is money and census and data and crunching numbers. Well, what the fuck? It seems that the lefties are the ones that are actually doing that the most, because it seems like the central planners, all they want to do is figure out how can they keep the GDP numbers growing? How can they keep the economy growing? Well, what about what's happening in your domestic population? What about the animosity? What about the hatred? What about the vitriol? What about the anger? What about all the division that's happening as a result of this? You don't care about any of that? Apparently not. But the Canadian people do. And like I said before in past videos, and like you're going to see once again in this video, based on this article and this study, is, yeah, Canadians are fed up. They're getting really pissed off. And and this is the thing. Trudeau and all of his fucking lefty fucking dipshits, or even fucking Sheeran, all of them out there. Oh, but Canadians are so accepting and so diverse, and well, the Canadians are saying otherwise. So it really sounds really fucking weird that you want to constantly put forth and present this message, this narrative that, oh, the Canadians, well, listen, that's the thing. No matter how you look at it, either the Canadians are actually, like this study showing that actually you're out of touch with Canadians, or even if you actually, even if there was some magical world where Canadians are that accepting, then why do you keep hating on Canadians that are saying, hey, we got to slow things down here, people. Let's take a few deep breaths and think about what we're doing here. But yet, every time the Canadians speak up in opposition to the political narrative of the day, well, they're talked about as if, oh, they're all white nationalists, they're all fascists, they're all Hitler, they're all, bigots or Islamophobic or whatever, like think about the many different labels that the leftists use now to describe anyone that is a detractor or goes against their political narrative or their political edicts. Anyways, this is a headline news article out of CBC News. Canadians believe in immigration but concerned about asylum seekers study. Findings contained in survey commissioned by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. So this is the government's very own study put on by their very own peeps. All right? So hello, like I said, how are you going to try to square that round peg, Trudeau or CBC? It's not going to work out very well for you, but let's read on and see how this actually plays out, or how it's written, or the body of the article, how it's presented to us. And this is being written by and presented by Teresa Wright from the Canadian Press. August 17th, 2018. Canadians are generally supportive of current immigration levels, a survey of public perceptions commissioned by the federal government suggests, but they are also worried and confused when it comes to the issue of asylum seekers. The study, conducted in March by the polling firm Ipsos, solicited the opinions of newcomers, established immigrants living in Canada, and the general public through a series of focus groups, as well as surveys conducted via telephone and online. So it seems like, they reached out to not just a lot of actually like old stock Canadians, right? But even newcomers and established immigrants living in Canada. And it was online and using telephone polling. So it seems at least on the surface that the sampling was fairly extensive, right? To try to get the pulse of the nation. So let's read and find out what they found out. It was commissioned with a price tag of $245,000 by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada as part of ongoing research to gain a better understanding of the attitude of Canadians towards immigrants and the federal government's immigration programs. Most participants said they believe immigration has a positive effect on Canada, on the country's economic prospects, and on shaping Canada's cultural mosaic, the study found. Some respondents, however, expressed doubt about the fairness of the system, considering the influx of people who have been entering Canada at unofficial border crossings since 2017 in order to apply for asylum. A perception exists that so-called illegal. Are they breaking the law? Yeah, then it's illegal. Irregular? Once again, stop with your political damage control here, folks. Just call a spade here. Why play these games? I don't know. Migrants are exploiting the system to get express entry into Canada, and that security procedures are being compromised as a result, the survey found. Few had heard of the Safe Third Country Agreement, a treaty between Canada and the U.S. meant to manage the flow of refugee claimants across the shared border. How is it that few Canadians have heard of the safe third country agreement. What? Well, you're not. What? Are you not properly informing the people, the masses, CBC? Well, I know for sure that you're definitely not properly informing them. But hey, just trying to point out the obvious here. Just trying to make sure that you understand intrinsically that that's literally, you're literally blaming or the education system or the politics of the day, right? All those people that are out there supposed to be informing the people. Apparently you're not doing your jobs. A treaty between Canada and the U.S. meant to manage the flow of refugee claimants across the shared border. It states that most people seeking refugee status in either country must make their claim at the first safe country they arrive in, either Canada or the U.S. And yes, U.S. is a safe country. All these people that try to pretend that, oh, because Trump's in power now, that, oh, U.S. is no longer a safe place. Really, though? Really, though? Seriously? I mean, just read the Constitution and look at the kind of freedoms espoused within it in the U.S. And it makes every other Western country a very distant second place as far as understanding what true liberty entails. So stop playing these games. Those who enter Canada outside of an official port of entry are able to apply for refugee protection once on Canadian soil, which has prompted thousands to make the crossing at unofficial entry points, primarily in Quebec. Yeah, so think about it. If there was like, oh, the legal migration route or anything that would be the proper route, right, where you have to go through all this screening and background checks and all that stuff, and you know what that entails. But look, oh, there's this magic way where we can just go to a border where there's actually no border crossing, and somehow we can circumvent all that. Don't you think a lot of people be like, oh, wait a minute, why am I standing this big long line up when I go over here and totally skip the line? Have you ever been out there on the highway driving? You know, I mean, people just people that are actually real Canadians, and they just go to that last bit when the lane is ending, they'll wait till the very last minute before they try to jump over. Yeah, and you see that happen every day. But apparently, those in the media or the political hacks in Canada don't realize that, hey, if there's people that are illegal immigrants can find a shortcut to get into Canada to get some freebies, right? Oh, no, they're not doing it, huh? Oh, of course they are. And it's only going to get worse if this continues on. That's why, just like Michelle Rempel and others have suggested, just make the whole entire border of Canada an actual official border. That way you eliminate this bullshit and this pretense of having some loophole where they can skip the line or skip the queue and just go straight to the front, right? Pretty simple fix, but you don't hear the true liberals or anyone there actually standing up and saying, yeah, that's what we should do. A fact sheet was provided to study participants, addressing the myth of asylum seekers as queue jumpers and explaining more broadly the process for dealing with irregular migrants. So a fact sheet was offered to those who took the study. Keep that in mind, folks. Some said the information helped their understanding of the situation, but others were unmoved. Apparently he didn't do a very good job, and I mean, that's totally understandable because, like I said, the media have become, and those, your information leaders or your opinion makers, yeah, they've become very much inept and lacking the critical skills or the willingness, it seems, to give you enough information to make an informed decision. And Canadians are on to that reality. Some participants, particularly those in the newcomer groups, questioned the legitimacy of those making asylum claims. The suggestion being that these individuals could simply be exploiting a loophole to expedite eventual immigration processes, the study states. So yeah, all those people that had to wait in big, long, like I said, the ones that had to go through the process legally, through the actual legitimate immigration process, they're saying, hey, wait a minute. How come I'm being punished for doing the right thing and there's other people that are being rewarded for doing the wrong thing? Of course. And these are newcomers, folks. So, like I said, it's not just old stock Canadians, as the media tries to point out, that's pissed off and getting fed up with this stuff. It's even newly landed immigrants. Concerns were also expressed about the impact of immigration on Canada's social safety nets, such as social services as well as public safety and job security. All totally legit concerns, right? I mean, just look at what's happening in the U.S. and just look what's happening in Europe. And of course, Canadians should be concerned about this mass influx of illegals into their country. And not just what it's going to affect it's going to have on them socially, but economically as well. Given the obvious penchant by the general public and immigrants who have come in through traditional channels to single out refugees and asylum seekers for what is wrong with immigration, it is essential a tailored approach to communicating the benefits be considered, Ipsos recommended. Immigration Minister Ahmed Hussein's press secretary Matthew Jeunesse said the research is part of ongoing conversation with Canadians to help the federal government better understand how the work they are doing is better received. As for the concerns about asylum seekers, Jeunesse blamed the opposition conservatives for fostering those fears. So, yeah, they're saying just forget about all the facts or the actual people's perceptions or the fact that we even gave them data points when they were asking their opinions, but they still erred on the side of being cautious and concerned about this mass immigration thing. But, let's just blame it on the conservatives, right? Which haven't been in power since Trudeau won his majority mandate in 2015. But, yeah, let's just blame the conservatives, right? And who are the conservatives that you're talking about that are, name them. But you know what it is, if they name them, someone like Michelle Rampell, because if the Canadian people actually go and watch her videos, you see that, she's not stoking no Islamophobic fear. She's just being realistic and pointing out that, hey, you might want to concern yourself with this stuff, Canada. But once again, we're seeing the political posturing already contained within this article. The research made clear that the conservative campaign of disinformation is having an effect on Canadians, Jeunesse said. So that's a political talking point right there, because they're basically, without offering any evidence or any quotes, right? Nothing contained within there, or a link to where they could show maybe a video or an audio portion where somebody was just being Islamophobic, the conservatives, right? None of that. Just, you're just going to take their word for it. Just take our word for it. Trust me, we're being honest, right? Yeah, like I said, look, this is why it's so easy to break down and destroy the narrative of these leftists, these political hacks that dominate the CBC, because they don't even take the time to try to present their narrative or their arguments in anything even remotely objective or honest or precise or concise. No, it's just, like I say, political rhetoric, and they're hoping that you'll just suck it up and swallow it, hook, line, and sinker. But like I say, Canadians aren't falling for it, so fail once again, CBC. Whether it was the claim that 400 people a day would be crossing the border over the summer when the numbers were actually 10 times less, or the claim that asylum seekers were jumping the queue when they knew it was false, it is clear that the old tricks out of the Harper playbook are sowing confusion among communities. But you gave them the numbers for the study. Are you leaving that out? You put it up there, so why are you denying that now? Because the people have had, and I even seen the study before, where once the Canadian people, when they said about, what was it, the asylum seekers, 50,000, and it was actually only 30,000, even when Canadians seen the actual real genuine number, data, presented to them, through these people that put on these polls and these studies, they still said the same thing. Just look at my last video that I did about this thing and you'll see. So what is it? What a fucking waste of taxpayer dollars to pay for just like I say, political drivel that has nothing to do, that's nothing based in anything objective or reality based, just political rhetoric. Conservative immigration critic Michelle Rampell took exception to Jeunesse's claim, as well with the fact that the study characterized as misconceptions the views of those who oppose the government approach to irregular immigration. Yeah, because it's misinformation or it's misconceptions if you have any opinion that's in opposition to the political opinion espoused by those on the left today. That's what it is. We don't have to present actually a real argument. No. We'll just point to our opponent and say, they're lying to you, and call it a day. No wonder you're losing the information war, lefties. Because once again, you're showing just how inept people become when you become, entitled parasites and mindless bureaucrats or order followers that just suck up and suckle on the teat, which is the state, which is all provided by those of us in the private sector. But as we see, you've become complacent, conformist, and, like I say, inept. And Canadians see it. And there's no denying it. Anyways, I'll post a link to this article in the description of the video below. But I just wanted to point out once again, Canadians are pointing out and pushing back against the political narrative by those hacks in the CBC and those on the left side of the political spectrum. And even some of these some of them that call themselves right-wingers, but they're nothing of the sort, like your Scheer right? That's throwing Maxime Bernier under the bus for daring to speak up against anything that he perceives as wrong and against Canadian tradition and values and principles. Like I say, you got no political leadership out there, folks, that has anything that's based on anything objective, reason, logic, morally principled, or consistent in terms of ethics, and anything that should be construed as, dialogue contained within a nation under the concept of a social contract. The Liberals have said, hey, we've ripped up, there's no social contract. So why are you Canadians, why are you out there still trying to play as if you're functioning in some kind of society where everything's based or grounded in, like, the rule of law, genuine rule of law, common law, objective facts, standards, evidence-based propositions or realities. It's nothing of the sort. Like I say, it's a free-for-all. Anarchism exists in Canada, and it's being practiced by those who want to rule over you. Which I get, it's a bit of an oxymoron, right? Because they want to rule over you, but that's actually a true statement. Those that want to rule over you, they want anarchy for themselves. They don't want to have to deal with any rules, right? They just want to be able to have a free-for-all for themselves and those that they associate with and their collective gangs and groups. But for the average Canadian, the average taxer, no. You got rules from here piled high to the ceiling that you got to follow. And if you dare step outside the bounds of what your political masters deem allowable, you'll suffer dramatically. The consequences will be detrimental. But if you're part of the ruling class, part of the connected class, or carry favor by those, like I say, anarchy exists, and they're loving the freedoms that entails. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.